The legend. Thank you.
Let's go, baby.
Where did you guys get this? Oh my God. Wow. Where is this guy? You guys speak so highly of him. Wow. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, grab a seat. Thank you guys so much. So happy to be here. I'm so nervous. Oh my God, like I'm shaking. If I faint, who's in charge of CPR? Volunteers. You got who, right there. Joe, you got me. All right. You guys, welcome. I have a couple slides. I've probably spent about 6 months working on these slides. It's a little bit overwhelming. They're really up here for you guys to read when I start not making sense. So we'll get there. But what I want to do today is I just kind of want to share my story, right? I want to share my story. And then the name of my presentation, I guess, is 10 Keys to 10K. I just wrote that because it sounded catchy, right? But really, like, these were my 10 keys to 10K. So I've kind of formatted these in like a, I should probably put a timer on. Otherwise, I'll be here all day. Hold on. But I kind of formatted this in like just like 10 principles that I followed when I first started, and kind of principles that I've held on to up until this point in our business. So these principles aren't like, you need to do this, you need to do this. These are just things that I've personally held dear, like things that have kind of helped me along the way. So that's really what this is. This isn't a finger wagging. This is just like notes to myself. You know, and I've had the chance to talk to a lot of you. So Nashville Media has been in existence for just a little bit over a year and a half. And during that time, I've had a chance to talk to a lot of you. And that's, honestly, you guys, like a lot of these 10 keys, 10 principles, none of this is my own stuff. This is stuff that I've stolen from Eli, stolen from Todd, from you, Colleen. And then like a lot of you guys, even when you guys are a little bit newer, we just start, chopping it up. We get on the phone for like an hour, and then these 10 principles just kind of like form themselves. So that's really what this is. Let me not forget my timer. It was like 5 minutes already. All right, guys. So, you guys, my name's Kevin. I'm the owner of Nashville Media Company located in Nashville. We've been in business for a little bit over a year and a half. And much like many of you, when I discovered REPP, when I discovered real estate media, I had no idea that this was an industry. I didn't know that people made money doing this. I found one of Eli's YouTube videos, and I'm like, yeah, I can do that. So I had no experience in photography, no experience in real estate or running a business or anything like that. I just believed in what he was saying. I believed in myself, and I believed in a lot of the case studies that he did with, where's my man, Chris? Chris, where you at? Blame this guy for Nashville Media Company. I heard your story, and I was like, you know what? If Chris can do it, I can do it, right? I've heard him mention today Bronson Carmichael. I heard his Q&A with Eli, and I just thought, man, if this guy can do it, I can do it. Where's my man, Anthony? Anthony, same thing. Like, listening to your guys' story just gave me that confidence and that belief that, you know what? Like, if these guys are crushing it, they're making money, they made a business, like, I can do this, right? And obviously, having incredible coaches like Eli and Jared and Kenny, man, you guys changed my life. Like many of you now, or when you first started, you guys, I had a traditional job. I hated my job. Actually, the most recent job that I had, it was actually pretty decent money, but it came at the cost of sacrificing my entire life for a paycheck. I have 3 kids. My wife is here. Where's my wife at? Okay, cool. It's just, it was a decent job, but I had to sacrifice my entire life just for a paycheck, just to make ends meet. And it was around the time that we had our 3rd son that I was able to take 3 months off and took some family leave of absence. And that's when I had that epiphany of like, there has to be more to life than just paycheck to paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. And, so we're from California. We moved to Tennessee about 2 years ago. When we moved to Tennessee, we had no clue what we wanted to do for a living. We had no idea where we were going to live. We literally packed up our lives into 2 cars. We drove across the country. We didn't even know where we were going to stay. Like, we literally stayed in like a hotel for a month until we figured out, what we were going to do. But during that time, we prayed. We talked about it, and but the only, I guess, prerequisite that I knew I wanted to like check off was I just don't want to keep working just the 9 to 5, paycheck to paycheck, like that's just not for me. So I wanted a job where I can eventually work from home, where I can eventually see my kids. So after, I think about 6 months of just like going down the YouTube rabbit hole, I found out about real estate media. And when I heard Eli speak and his just empowering me and giving me that confidence, I believe in myself, I went all in. Okay, so I guess that's our story. So that's how, okay, so probably a good time to get into the slides now. Let's see. Let's see. So here's kind of our journey, right? And I hope that resonates with you. And I start with my story because I feel like that resonates with a lot of you. I've had the chance to talk to a lot of you, and you guys will come up to me and like, oh my God, your story, like a lot. Like raise your hands if you started this within the last year or two, and you had no experience in photography at all. Like, let me see those hands. Raise them proud. Like you guys are my people. You guys heard of Eli. You guys saw Eli on Instagram, YouTube, and like that's what I'm doing. I don't know anything about photos or photography. I've never held a camera before in my life, but that's what I'm going to do now. Like that's what I did. So August 2022. Let me try to not block the. Okay, so August 2022, we moved from California to Tennessee. And like I said, this is kind of there for you guys just to read. So if I feel free to follow along. January 2nd, I discovered REPP. And January 11th, purchased all my gear. 27th, I actually flew. So it just so happened that they were having an in-person workshop, much like the one that you guys attended in Nashville a few months ago. So they were having an in-person workshop for video. Mind you, I've never held a camera. I actually ordered all my gear, and like it was like slowly trickling in. So I gathered all my gear the day that I actually went there. So as I'm there in the workshop, I'm like opening up gear, taking off the stickers. Like I literally, Eli took pity on me because he saw me like struggling with a gimbal, and he's like, "Brother, I got you." And so that's how new I was. Flew to Dallas-Fort Worth for a video workshop, and I got to meet Eli in person. I was actually kind of starstruck, honestly. I was like, he's here in person, so that's cool. I met Jared, Kenny, Aaron, and man, you guys just heard my story a little bit, and you guys just kind of really believed in me. So again, man, you guys, oh, there it goes again. Man, you guys really changed my life. I mean it. So, okay, February 12th, I shot this was actually funny story here. This was on Super Bowl Sunday. Mind you guys, I had never done this before, but I followed the Instagram method. Everything that these guys talked about, I went out and I tried to do what they were telling me to the best of my abilities. So what I did was Super Bowl Sunday, I walked up to an open house, and actually, credit to my wife here, like it took me 3 attempts to walk up to the house. I was so nervous. Like I walked up with my iPhone and the gimbal, and I was like, this is so stupid. Like, what am I doing? Oh my God. I'm back in my car in reverse, and I'm like, so where is this? When did I quit my job? But this is why I stayed there, because I quit my job. I had no other choice. But I mean, I wish I was exaggerating. I literally got back in my car 3 times before I finally gathered up the courage to walk in there and talk to this agent. So when I finally mustered up the courage to go introduce myself to this real estate agent, I introduced myself, told her who I was. I told her, hey, I'm the owner of Nashville Media Company. This is my first contact with a real estate agent ever. And but I'm like, I'm the owner, So I was like, hey, and I showed her somebody else's video. I was like, hey, have you ever seen a video like this? I go, let's do one for your property. And we did. So she's like, yeah, absolutely, have fun. So where's Kenny at? Kenny will, like, what's the limit for how many clips we should send you for a reel? 5? Oh my God. I sent like 150 clips. Sorry, dude. But we got it done, and she loved it. And I collabed with her, and I got a bunch of business from her. Her name's Patty Copeland. To this day, she's still my client, all from that free shoot. But I think if it weren't for quitting my job, I would have gotten my car and left. I mean, I tried 3 times, but my wife talked me to follow through. So fast forward to February 14th, I cold called an agent off of Zillow. His photos looked not great. I think I asked him, like, hey, were these cell phone photos? He's like, nope, paid for those. I'm like, oh. So I was like, well, so whatever. He took me up on the free shoot, and I was just ecstatic. Actually, like I called him, and I was there shooting that house the next day. I said that I tried to follow what REPP has taught me to a T, but what they tell you is when you're first starting out, practice on your own house. And I didn't do that. I showed up to this 8,000 square foot house. Yeah, guys. Yeah, I think this is a what not to do, you know? So I showed up to this house. I don't know who I thought I was to shoot a 6,500 square foot house, but I'm there, talking up a big game in front of the agent, and he leaves. He's like, all right, do your thing. Let me know when you're done. Grabbed the camera. I was like, oh my God, like I don't even know what settings I'm supposed to be in. I literally, you guys, you can't make this up. I called Kenny straight to voicemail, and I text him, Kenny, 911, SOS, emergency. He's like, what is going on? I'm like, I don't know my settings. So that's how like just caution to the wind I was. But, and funny story here as well, this client here, his name's Hunter Briley. He's still a client to this day. February 13th. All right, I'm not gonna get ahead of myself, but February 23rd, first ever paid shoot. March 30th. I guess I consider February like our first official month, but fast forward to the month of March, we have completed 10 paid shoots. April 12th, one of those was a $1,400 shoot, which is just crazy. I went from Kenny, 911 SOS, to a $1,400 shoot. So here are, oh, that's all messed up. Here are some of the 10 principles that I've learned along the way. And again, this isn't like a finger wagging. This is just stuff that I've kind of like made note to myself. So hopefully you guys take away some value from this. Hopefully there are some actionable items in here. But I think before I go any further, I think the reason I share my story, the reason I start with like all my blunders is that I want you guys to know that like I literally had no clue what I was doing. And fast forward now, a little bit over a year and a half later, Nashville Media Company is doing about $50,000 a month in revenue consistently. So thank you. So I share all of that because I want you guys to just know in your heart that if I can do it, you guys can do it. Okay, if I can do it, you guys can do it. And again, the presentation says 10 keys to 10K, but that 10K is just kind of a placeholder. That 10K number could be, for you guys, it could be 100K. For you guys, it could be 20, 30. Whatever that 10K number is for you, like that 10K is just a placeholder. It's just because it sounded catchy. 10 keys to 10K, right? But really, like, hopefully you guys are able to take, have some pretty cool takeaways and actionable items at the end of all this. How are we doing so far? All right. So, number one, like, again, 10 keys, like, I'll just go into them. Number one, for me, it was burn the ships. I quit my job, and, like, I think this is so important because you will have moments all throughout your career where you're in the car, and you put that thing in reverse, and you're like, you want to go home. I had them. I still have them to this day. But I forced myself to not, I didn't give myself another choice. I was like, I'm all in. I quit my job. Like, this is it. I have to make this work. And I was super nervous. I was literally shaking to introduce myself to this real estate agent. Like, who am I? I don't know what I'm doing. So there's just all these crazy thoughts going in my head, but that client's still a client to this day. She's one of our best clients. The second shoot ever, still a client to this day. So that's all. It's not just, yeah, maybe it could have been a little bit of luck, but there's a lot of stuff that I think, like, there's, we'll touch on it here in just a little bit, but I think, like, why they're still our clients to this day, like, that's our secret sauce, right? So hopefully I wrote them down. So burn the ships, right? Burn the ships. And burn the ships doesn't mean go out and quit your job right away, right? If you're like, hey, I'm going to do real estate media part-time, then go all in on that plan. If you're going to be part-time, like, you're all in on that plan. Like, don't stray away from that plan. Like, just don't give yourself a deadline. Give yourself a timeline, and, like, don't give yourself excuses. And this is just, from talking to people over the last year and a half, it's like, just people, I think we all have the same fears. Every single person in this room, I don't care if it's Tim and Colleen or Eli or Todd. Todd's crushing it, but we all had the same fears at some point of that, like, oh, my competition's photos are better, my video's not that great, whatever it is. We all have these fears and these limiting beliefs. I had them, Mike had them, and you guys are gonna hear about Mike a little bit later on, but Mike, little teaser about him, he's only been in business for a year, and he's doing $100,000 a month in revenue. And I had the chance, yeah, let's clap it up for Mike. So, and I share Mike because the first time him and I spoke on the phone, oh, he had every single fear and limiting belief. He had every single one of them. What about the competition? You know, like every single thing, whatever's in your mind right now, he had them. He had them all. So if he can do it, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So burn the ships, right? Number 2, clarity is power. This one here, stole it from Tony Robbins, but this one here, I remember one of the first phone calls I had with Eli. He asked me, okay, we're doing this. Cool, you quit your job, which I told you not to do, but you did it anyways. He's like, how much do you want to make? I'm like, I don't know, as much as I can. He goes, no. How much do you want to make? I'm like, I don't know. He goes, okay, well, how much were you making before? This much. He's like, okay, so then let's set this as a realistic goal. Done. So we had a very clear goal in mind, a very specific number, right? But also, I think I missed this. It's not all about the revenue, right? You have to have a goal with your revenue, but also you have to have a goal as to what your life is going to look like. Because I don't know if I mentioned this already, but the reason I got into real estate photography was not because I wanted to make $50,000 to $100,000 a month. I got into this business because I was tired of working paycheck to paycheck. I was tired of working 60, 70 hours a week and never seeing my family. That's why I got into this business, because I said this earlier. I wanted to have a job where I can eventually work from home, eventually see my kids more. This job, this company, National Media Company, we're on track to do that. We're hiring people. Like my end goal is to hit about $100,000 a month, and I'm making about $25,000 take home, and I'm chilling at home. I'm on the beach, and we're pretty damn close to that. All thanks to these guys right over here, and it's possible. So that was my goal. Whatever your guys' goal is, set a goal for your revenue, and set a goal of what your personal life looks like. That was super important. So there's that one. Number 3, this one here. Do the right things for the right reasons, and the money will follow. This is huge right here, right? Cool, we set these massive goals, and let's get after it. If you go at it with the mentality of like, if you have the dollar amount as like the center of your priority, your clients will be able to tell, right? So to me, what this statement, and again, this is just me to me, do the right things for the right reasons, and the money will follow. To me, that means develop a servant mentality. Ask yourself, how can I help, right? How can I help with your agents? So what does that mean, right? So be genuine. People can tell if you're being genuine with you. Okay, so there's a story that Eli, is it? I'm way too close to the stage. But we're just gonna roll with it. Eli talked about a story where he painted the shed. I don't know if you guys have all heard that story, but that's what doing the right things for the right reasons looks like to me. So he talks about a time where he's at a shoot and the agent's struggling to paint the shed. It's not his job, he's a photographer, he's there to take photos, but he saw her struggling, so he lent a hand. And we've really led with that with our business. It's not about the money. It's not about the photos. It's, at the end of the day, guys, we're in the people business. We're there to help. We're in the service industry. So if you can kind of change your mindset and just adopt this, it will take you far. People, kind of like dovetailing off of that, people do business with people, right? That's kind of what I was just saying. We're not photographers, guys. Every single person, yeah, we take amazing photos, videos are bangers, social media is awesome. We're not photographers. We're in the service industry. End of story. That's why National Media has grown to 50K in a year and a half. Not because our photos, I know a couple people have already mentioned that our videos are good and whatever. While we're on the subject, follow me on Instagram, Nashville Media Co. No, but like, people always say that our videos are good and whatever, and it's like, I think they're okay. I think this is why we've grown so quickly, because we're in the service industry first, not just photographers. So yes, the photos have to be good. Yes, the video has to be good, but do the right things for the right reasons, right? Service, I forgot what I was saying. Okay, I messed that one up too. Where are my Tennessee people at? Raise your hands. One. I know there's more of you. Where are they at? All right. Whoever just raised their hand, don't let them take a picture of the next slide. These are actual clients. So here, let me kind of set that up a little bit better. So people do business with people, right? Let me think about how I want to say this, because I think this next slide, it's really important. I just want to show you a slide just to show you a slide. That first shoot that I walked up to with that agent, Super Bowl Sunday, right? It wasn't just like, hey, do you want this free video? Yeah, cool, thanks, later, right? So I think what I see a lot of people get wrong is they kind of put too much emphasis on the media, on the photos and the video. So then they give the real estate agent the media, and they're like, here you go, here's the media, good luck, have a great day. Versus there's this thing that I tell my real estate agents, I'm like, look, I don't want to just be your photographer. I want to be a part of your team. I want to help you build your brand. And they're like, well, nobody's ever said that to me before. But then your actions have to follow that up. So this is why. So this is kind of like our little family tree right here. It all started with this guy, right? Hunter Briley. This is his house, 6,500 square feet, where I text Kenny 911, help me out. I don't know my settings. I showed up, and again, I've never shot a house before, but I showed up with enthusiasm, encouragement, and that attitude, like that servant mentality. Like, I'm here to help. It's not just about the photos. If I'm just a photographer, if I perceive myself as just a photographer, they're going to perceive me as just another photographer, right? So if you can kind of like adopt a new mindset of, hey, I don't want to just be your photographer. I want to be a part of your team. I want to help you build your brand. And what could that look like, right? With Eli, it was painting the shed. So ask yourself the next time you have an interaction with a client, like what would that look like? If I don't want to just be a photographer, if I want to bring more value than that, like what could that look like? So I showed up with that mindset, that enthusiasm, and this is what followed. Hunter Briley recommended me to Teddy Pins and so on and so forth. And then all of this from one free shoot. All of this, guys, these are all still, I probably lost a couple. I probably just lost a couple more to the guys, taking, but all of these high-paying clients from one free shoot. And it wasn't because my photos were good, and they're not, they're okay. It wasn't because my videos are amazing. There are people who have video way better than I do in Nashville. This all came because of that mentality. I'm not going to have enough time for all my slides, but so I started to put a dollar amount, like how much these clients have spent with Nashville media, but I ran out of time. It took forever. Like this took like 3 hours, guys. So I hope it looks cool. But yeah, I mean, just real quickly, like Hunter has spent about, I think, $7,000 since the first time. Teddy Pins has spent about $11,000. Let's see, there's some big clients in here. This guy here was actually my $1,400 shoot. These guys over here, this is where we start getting into some money over here. So I definitely want to cover that from these guys over there. So, but you guys, I was kind of going down the list and looking up how much these guys have spent, and it's crazy. All from one free shoot, all from not perceiving myself as just a photographer. So I thought that was kind of cool. And if you guys, okay, so this is a big one, and I've had trouble with how to explain this one without sounding like I'm talking down to people, but don't. And again, this has come from just, I want to say hundreds, but several phone calls that I've had with many of you guys in this room. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Stole that from Jim Rohn. So if you guys are like, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Kevin's Instagram page, and yeah, his videos are good. I know he said they're not, but they are good. My video's not as good. And then that's it, they give up right there. So that right there, that mindset, like I see it in many different conversations with different areas of the business. They look at somebody else and they're like, well, that person has this and this, and I don't, so that's it. Eli, I hope you're okay with me talking about the story here. I don't know about you guys, but when I hear Eli speak on the YouTube channel and up here, I'm just like in awe. This guy just, I love hearing Eli speak. He shared on one of the Q&As that he wasn't always that way. Like public speaking and just speaking in general, it wasn't like he was just born with that gift. It was something that he had to really work on and develop. It was a skill that he had to develop. So if there's something that you guys are having issues with, it's a skill that can be developed, right? My videos were not always good. I wish I could show you all, with the intro, thank you guys with that intro, that's awesome. But I wish I could show you guys my first 10 videos. They were absolute garbage. I mean, absolutely garbage. I actually refunded the money on some of the videos because of how bad they were. I was like, I'm not letting you pay for that. But it's a skill that has to be developed, whether it's sales, whether it's your photo video, whether it's whatever it is, it's a skill that can be developed. So rather than just sitting there and crying, woe is me, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. And again, that's not like talking down to you. Like, this is something that I kind of have to tell myself in the mirror all the time. So moving on. Extreme accountability kind of dovetails off the, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. I'm running out of time, so I'm just gonna go right into this one here. Todd's been in business for about 20 years, and he does, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, well over $300,000 a month, right? Well over $300,000 a month, 20 years in business, and just recently, about a month ago, I was listening to one of his podcasts, the Spiro podcast. I highly recommend. Actually, how many people in this room? Like a couple hundred. I want to see a couple hundred subscriptions to the Spiro podcast. There's some good stuff in there. He was talking about recently, maybe a month ago, about how within his company, they used to have this culture of blaming the individual, blaming the employee whenever the employee made a mistake, and that's just kind of how it was. But he said through coaching, through experience, he kind of readopted that mindset. So now, when an employee does mess up, and they obviously do mess up, when an employee messes up, Todd doesn't blame the individual. He goes, where did I screw up? Where did I drop the ball? Don't blame the individual. Blame the systems. Blame the process, right? So that extreme accountability. And again, I bring up Todd because Todd's very successful. If he has that mindset, who am I not to have that same kind of accountability, right? So it really shook me. Go follow his podcast on YouTube. This is something that we've kind of touched on today. So I stole this from Patrick Bet-David. I was listening to, I think it was on Choose Your Enemies Wisely. He talks about the importance of your running mates, right? Jim Rohn said it in kind of a different way. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So this, everybody in this room, give yourself a pat on the back for coming here. This, you had to spend your money to fly out here, drive out here, money on the hotels, the food. You guys made a huge investment to come out here. Make it a point to go and find your people here within this room and hang on to them for dear life. I think the message I was trying to convey here with this slide is that sometimes running a business is hard, and we can't do it by ourselves. It is so important to have these running mates in place, whether it's your coach, your mentor, colleagues. You have to have that support system. You have to have your editing team behind you, your admins, your VAs. We cannot do this by ourselves, and that doesn't just apply to your internal team. That applies you said it when you first spoke. Me and Colleen talk every other day. I mean, every other day. Just sometimes it gets hard. Sometimes there's difficulties that I get too emotional about, and I call you and you give me a different perspective. I could not be where I'm at today without Colleen. I couldn't be where I'm at today without Eli and Kenny and Jared, my wife. Your running mates matter. So I challenge all of you guys to make deep connections with the people in this room, because they're going to carry you to $100,000 months. They're going to carry you to $50,000 months. This is one that I struggle with. We're doing okay. The magic you're looking for is in the magic you're avoiding, right? Chris Williams. I think the message here is all about discipline. Again, this is the one I struggle with the most, so I don't have much to add here. Let me go grab a seat over here and read this slide. Yeah, I think this one here is just really about, I think this is probably one that we're gonna have to pick Mike's brain on later, because this is just all about discipline. Sometimes there's just things in our business that you just have to get done, and it's hard. It is hard. I think it's supposed to be hard, but I think that's what makes it worth it. That's what brings the fulfillment at the end of the day. But if you're ever in a moment where you're kind of struggling and you just kind of hit this roadblock, think of this slide right here. The magic that you're looking for is in the work that you're avoiding. And I think this just comes down to discipline. Yes, it's important to have the right mindset. Yes, it's important to have goals. And yes, it's important to have your support and that motivation. I have to really kick myself in the butt and motivate myself often just to kind of get after it. But if you can have all of that, but if you're lacking discipline, you're going to struggle. And again, this has just come from countless conversations that I've had with people in this room and probably watching online. Just the magic you're looking for is in the work that you're avoiding. So we can talk a little bit more about that later. And then this is kind of similar to the last slide. Just don't fall into the victim mindset. Kind of like what I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the presentation, just when I'm talking to people and I'm trying to just tell them kind of depending on where they're at in their business, I try to give them advice that's tailored to them. And I'll tell them okay, well, cool. Sounds like you need to do this, this, and this. And they're very simple, actionable items, but they have this yeah, but mentality, right? So sometimes that advice could be as simple as all right, you have no clients, you have nothing going on. You need to pick up the phone, you need to call an agent off of Zillow right now. That's what you need to do. Yeah, but I'm not, whatever. Yeah, but whatever, right? If I don't want to go all the way back to that slide, but here I am telling this kid, hey, you're asking me what I did to have a successful business. I told you what I did. I called an agent, and boom, it exploded. And I had that servant mentality. And I'm telling you exactly what I did and what you should do. And he's hitting me with yeah, but whatever it was. Yeah, but I lack confidence. Yeah, I'm not great on the phone. Yeah, I don't really have these sales skills. Quantity will lead to the quality, right? Do you think it looked pretty when I walked up to that agent and I was, when I literally put the car in reverse 3 times, when I walked up to her, you guys can probably imagine it didn't look real pretty. I was probably sweating. Actually, I was sweating profusely. Your boy can sweat, right? Where's my wife at? I can sweat. So here I am. I'm actually sweating right now, but here I am standing in front of this agent telling her, my name's Kevin, owner of National Media Company. I'm just sweating profusely, but she still took me up on the offer. So I had a lot of my yeah buts, but I pushed those off to the side and just head down, get after it. And this is why having that support system is so important. I called my wife. I could have just gotten in my car and left. And I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. Let me go practice some more. No. Called my support system. She's like, take a deep breath. You got this. And she's a client to this day. So whenever you guys find yourself thinking, here's this challenge, this hurdle that I need to tackle, and I need to do it, but just think of this. We all have the same fears and limiting beliefs. Every single person in this room. So reach out to your support system. They will get you through this. I could not do this alone. It's thanks to my, I've blown up a lot of your guys' phones, and just venting, and you guys kind of help me regroup, and then we get after it. And then boom, here we are. So it's super important. This one my wife came up with, no pencils allowed. She pokes fun at me that we're both very avid note takers, but she pokes fun at me that I refuse, and I don't. I refuse to take notes if I don't have a pen. I hate pencils. I think it's the noise. I don't know. But so she came up with the no pencils allowed. But I think the message here was, don't be so quick to erase your mistakes. These lessons are what made you who you are today. So last year, I had the honor to have dinner with Eli and Jared, Mike, and a few other people. Anthony was there. And it was so cool to see these guys who were uber successful. Mind you, last year I was 6-7 months in. So looking at these guys wow, if I could just get on their level. And I just kind of sat there. We're just kind of shooting the breeze. And the majority of our conversation at that dinner was just about the war stories, right? Back when Eli was still shooting, him and Aaron and Kenny, like we just, and just, oh my God, like all of the war stories that they shared, like that's, when looking back on the business that they've built, like that's what comes to mind. And like I think, you know, we were talking about it yesterday at the mastermind, and of course I take so much motivation from the people who have gone ahead of me and have just built amazing businesses. Of course they're super motivating. I look up to you guys very much. You guys are at $100,000 a month. I want my team to look like you guys. So of course you guys are motivating. I look at Todd. I look at, you know, just, of course that's super motivating. But also, hearing people talk about the difficulties that they've had in their business is also very motivating. I think because it just, you know, it reminds you like, hey, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that's having a hard time. You know, it's like the whole Instagram versus reality idea, right? It's just, of course, everyone's going to show you all their wins, but every single person in this room has either gone through some pretty tough adversity, or you will, and you will. And Todd, not to pick on you, but you know, Todd kind of shared a little bit, a pretty big adversity that they had within their business. 20 years in, and he still had it, but they made it through, and I'm sure they made it out on the other side better. But the adversity is what kind of shaped you to who you are today. It's what shaped me to where we are today. I truly, how do I want to say this? I wonder if I wrote down that quote, but Jim Rohn has a quote where he says, set a goal to make $1 million for what it will make of you. It's so powerful. There you go. You should get up on stage, please. Help me out. Come help me. Something like that. But set a goal, set a big goal, and just get after it for what it will make you. I think. Let's see. Before? Here, you're in charge of the remote. But it's just, you know, no pencils allowed. Like, it's okay. We're all gonna struggle. I struggle. Tim and Colleen, you guys struggle. Like, it's okay. 2-3 years from now, you guys will be back here at this conference, and you guys will be sitting at a dinner table with people that you're here with today, talking about these war stories. And, like, that, I think, to me, brings me more fulfillment than the dollar amount. It's, I don't know what I'm saying, guys. I'm trying my hardest here, all right? I'm running out of time here, so I guess we'll just go right into actionable items here. Again, I just kind of wanted to share my story, kind of what my journey has looked like, just from my perspective, and hopefully I made sense. But now I guess we can start to get into some actionable items, right? I think it's important to have that, to develop that solid foundation of that mindset, right? Like that's why Colleen wanted to open up with that. It's develop that solid foundation of that mindset, and then you can go ahead and get after it. Then you can start doing these practical, actionable items, and then they'll work. So the cold calls. Okay, this is a big one here. I think if I could summarize like what National Media's secret sauce is, it's one, we strive to build relationships with our agents, right? We're not just photographers, we truly want to be a part of their team. And every action that we take beyond that, like it really drives home that idea. So that's our secret sauce, truly. And then the Instagram method is huge. Like, this is actually, I'm glad I remembered this. We're about a little bit over a year and a half in, and we don't have business cards. National Media doesn't have business cards. We don't have a website. I don't have t-shirts. It's just Instagram. Our business has been built off of Instagram. End of story. Like, that's crazy. And I think it's because of that effort to build relationships with our clients. And also, we very much treat Instagram as this is another thing that we, through all the conversations that I've had with people, like this is kind of where they get it wrong. Oh, I've sent 800 DMs and it's not working. I've sent 1,000 DMs. Like, it's kind of like when you guys get DMs from photo editors straight to the spam folder. That's kind of like what we look like sometimes, just sending out all these messages. So I want you guys to try to adopt this mindset and just try to build those relationships first before you start shooting out these free offers, right? That's why we've built a business to where we're at. So I want you guys to start trying to treat Instagram as a social media platform. Like, that's what it's for. So just this little quote right here: socialize, don't solicit. A lot of times the interactions that we're having with agents is like they know when they're being solicited, right? They know when you're trying to just get business out of them. So really just socialize with them. Oh my God, I love that coffee shop. Have you tried this one? Oh, I'm gonna have to try that one. I love that steakhouse. How was it? Oh, the new steak. Like really treat Instagram as a social media platform. Like, really engage with them, build rapport, build those relationships, and then shoot your shot. And don't just be like, oh, I have to send out 3 DMs and 3 likes. And no. Like, truly, especially in the beginning. And then if your business starts to explode and you can't do it yourself, hire a VA. But like, this is so important. Again, $50,000 a month, and we don't have a website. We don't run ads. It's literally just Instagram and word of mouth. That's it. I'm not holding anything back from you guys. That's how we built this business. So this is powerful. I think the idea of just building those relationships and really meaning it, right? It's kind of like what I said earlier, doing the right things for the right reasons. I don't even know what I wrote here. I think the thing I want to wrap up with here is continue to show up to class, guys. Continue to show up to class. When I first started and I was hearing other people's stories, like Chris Bronson, one of the things that really caught my attention was that they mentioned that they would be on their way to a shoot, still listening to like the Q&As. If you guys are in coaching, like, it blows my freaking mind that people will sign up for coaching, spend all this money, and then not show up to the calls. It's like, and then here I am, like, I should probably be working on my systems and, running a business, but I'm creeping on the YouTube, on the Q&As, right, Eli? It's like, but continue to show up to class. Like, a lot of these guys do the same thing. If you're on your way to a shoot, throw on a podcast, throw on a Q&A, go listen to the Spiro podcast. Like, continue to show up to class. Just, like, I think what I was trying to say earlier is that build a business for what it will make of you. I think that's really what I've gotten the most fulfillment from out of this business. That I feel like I've become a better person in building Nashville media, and it's been because of the relationships that I've made, the connections that I've made, and all of the knowledge and the skills that I've developed. And that's really where I get the most fulfillment from. So you guys, after today, keep showing up to class. Keep showing up to class. And just get out there and then learn, sharpen those skills, develop those skills. I'll end on here, and hopefully this all made sense. But last week we were at church, and our pastor said something that really hit home. And he said something along the lines of, God has given us each individual gifts, but it's up to us to get out there and develop those gifts, to develop those skills. So I think every single person in here, we all have our strengths. Lean into your strengths. And if there's areas in you, in your business, that you need to work on and you need to develop, lean into that, right? Don't wish you were easier, wish you were better. Lean into it. Learn more, show up to class, sharpen those skills, lean on your support system, and it's really that simple. That's pretty much all I have for you guys today. At some point, we're going to come back up on stage later, and we can do some Q&A, and I'm sure we can get a chance to talk afterwards. But thank you guys for letting me sit up here and blabber for 45 minutes and give you guys, thank you.